Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, A Little Bit of Everything with Erin. It's me, Erin, and today is Monday, so we'll be vlogging about Willow. First off, I just want to say thank you again for all your positive comments and feedback. You guys have been amazing, and thank you so much for letting me openly speak about this with you guys. I really do appreciate it. I want to roll right into this week's episode and talk about us moving from California to the Dallas-Fort Worth area with Willow. So the first day we went to Dallas Children's. We had only been in Texas maybe 2 days, and it was pretty vital that she got seen right away so that they got eyes on her and any medical needs that we needed at home were taken care of, because we have to coordinate with home health and everything as well and make sure all her refills were taken care of with somebody who could make her medications. Because she is so young, a lot of her medications have to be compounded, and not all pharmacies can do that. They have to go to a specialty pharmacy. So we wanted to make sure all of that was taken care of properly and right away. Dallas was really great. They knew we were coming. They had been coordinating. They had been calling us, calling UCLA, and making this be an easy process, which I am really grateful for. They actually had someone from the team meet us in the garage, in the parking garage, and she walked us to one part of Dallas Children's Hospital where Willow went and got an ultrasound, and it was an ultrasound of all her organs. That way her team had like their own go back sheet to look at, you know, if anything else had gone wrong. And then she walked us to another part of the building where the solid organ transplant team is. And at Dallas, they don't have like separated from, oh, these kids are liver, these kids are heart. The solid organ transplant team, there are different doctors who do different transplants, and all the kids are seen in one facility, which is really great, because at the end of the day, they're all there for the same thing, because they need an organ donation. So we met with them, and they were awesome about getting everybody from the team to be there. We met with the social worker, we met with Child Life, we met with a coordinator, PA, I mean everybody. And we met with one of the surgeons, and he's the head surgeon. He's an amazing man. We really appreciate him. He does a wonderful job taking care of Willow. He doesn't have that static that some doctors have, where it's just, they're the doctor and you're the patient. I mean, he's really great about how he speaks to you, and you can kind of sometimes see the wheels turning in his head when he's thinking about what kind of care we should do next and how we should go about things. So one of the important things to do was to get Willow's time transferred from UCLA, because she's on the list at UCLA, because she does still need a liver transplant, and we have to get that moved over to Dallas. So that does take a little bit of time, but her name and everything still stays on the list, and her time does move over from one hospital to another. And the reason that you kind of have to still move is because the way organ transplant list is, it's by region, because an organ can only travel so far, so they have to do it by region, and there's a system, and it's made to be as fair as possible. And I say it like that because there are some things that I don't agree with, but I don't make those rules, and I know that some other people feel the same way about this as I do. I think in the long run, some things need to change, but it is as fair as it can be. And we'll leave that there. That'll be another episode. So the first thing they have to do is ask my insurance company if they'll pay for another transplant. So my insurance company has a board of doctors who sit at a table, I'm assuming, and they read Willow's chart and her medical history, and they determine if they will pay for another liver transplant. Thankfully, they said yes, which I don't see how they could not. So then the liver team themselves, they have to come and read everything and see if it's something that they can do. And of course, they said yes as well. So they came up with a score, because there is a system for that as well. It's just not, a doctor doesn't get to say, I think you're sick enough to be a 41. It doesn't work that way. There's an actual system that gives everybody a score. And your hospital doesn't even get to pick that score. They input it all in this system, and that generates the score for the hospital for you. So they did that, and they said her score was a -2. She was doing pretty well at this time, so this was kind of a real relief for us, and her doctor was really agreeing with my husband and I that we didn't want to push for a transplant right now. We wanted Willow to grow, get older, get bigger, so her veins and arteries and everything would be bigger as well, so she wouldn't have some of the same issues that she was having already. And he also made her inactive, which meant she was still on the list, but we weren't seeking a transplant. So even though she's there, we're not really there, if that makes sense. So she was doing really well from the time she got discharged at UCLA in August to mid-February, and that was our first hiccup. Her 8-year-old sister came home from school with the norovirus, and it's kind of like the flu, but not. I mean, if you've never had it, I hope you don't ever have to have it. It's really, I seen my husband and two of my kids plus Willow go through it, and it's not something that I would wish on anyone. But you or I get it, we just stay home for a day, maybe 2, have some fluids, and we're good to go. But because Willow's immune system is suppressed, it's harder on her body. So she actually had to stay at the hospital for 24 hours because she severely needed IV fluids. She could not eat, she could not drink, nothing was staying down. It was really hard on her. But she came home and she was fine. The bad thing about the norovirus is it stays in your system for like 6 months because you just kind of slowly shed it, so it sticks with you. And the bad thing about having a baby is sometimes they have a very big bowel movement and decide to play with it, and as a baby they might lick their hand, and so she kept giving herself the norovirus and she kept getting sick. So February, March, April, May, June, I kept going to the hospital with her, and it would be like a 48-hour stay, a whole week stay. It was rough. And finally we had I think the doctor told us we went 42 days without having to have a stay at the hospital, which has been the longest since February that we didn't have to be at the hospital. So this just trickling in, and then her numbers kept fluctuating, and they would check her rare antibody every month, and it was kind of staying around 15 and 20. So they were like, okay, the IVIG treatments she gets are kind of working, but as soon as she got the norovirus, they flung right back up to 40, which is extremely high, I'm told. Again, this isn't something that they check on everybody. It's not something everybody makes. There's only 2 hospitals in the United States that can even find this antibody, so it's been hard. She's had the IVIG treatments. It went from once a month. Now we're back to every 3 weeks. I'm trying to push it for once a month again and see how she does, because I don't know, is the IVIG treatment really working? Because if she still has this amount of antibodies every month, are we giving her this 4, 5, 6 hour treatment once a month or every 3 weeks for no reason? Does she have to go through this and have to deal with the side effects, which are migraines, severe lower back pain, and severe joint aches? If these antibodies that are donor antibodies aren't finding and destroying this rare antibody she's making, is it really worth it for us to put her through all that? So that's where we're kind of sitting right now, just trying to see if maybe we can talk them into pushing it to once a month, and if her number still stays at 40, then maybe every other month, and if her number still stays at 40, can we just stop it and see what happens? I don't know, but as a parent to a child that has to go through something like this, always make sure your voice is heard, always make sure your concerns are heard, and if you don't agree with something, do your research and lay it out for the doctors. Because again, just because they have a PhD, an MD, they work at these amazing hospitals, doesn't always mean they know everything. If your mom gut, your dad gut says, I don't know about this, question it, and make them also lay out all the pros of why this is working or why we should do this. Because sometimes we have to be that advocate, we have to be that voice for our child and make sure that everything that they're going through is for the right reasons. And that's where I'm going to leave this one today. Again, thank you so much for letting me talk with you guys about Willow. If you have any questions or comments or want to know anything else about Willow, leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and if you hit that bell at the top of the page, you'll get notifications anytime I post new videos. Every Monday will be our vlog day, and we'll sit here and talk about Willow for like 10 minutes. See you next Monday. Bye, guys.